Good afternoon, Todd. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm great. Thank you.
Good. Good to hear. I'm glad you were able to come on to our show here today. You were traveling earlier this week. Sounds like you put on a lot of miles on the car. So glad you were able to make it today.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always on a plane or driving somewhere. So I have a
Yeah.
massive territory.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So good to hear. And you're kind of familiar with the Granger sales force. You've worked with them in the past before, correct?
Correct. And especially with the ballast thing, we've been working a lot closer together and trying to look at where we're selling those replacement ballasts now. So
Yeah,
much more closely.
excellent. So before we get into Lutron and all of that, tell us a little bit about yourself, and how long you've been with Lutron, what it is that you do at Lutron.
Yep. So I've been at Lutron for 23 years in August. I spent 10 years in engineering, developing LED drivers and fluorescent dimming ballasts. Then I moved on from engineering, moved into government sales, inside and outside, upgrade sales inside and outside, ran some controlled and classified teams. And now I have replacement and upgrade services for Michigan West and Canada.
Wow, 23 years. That's a long time to be with the company, and you don't really see too many people that have been with the company for that long. So that's really great to hear. They must be a really good company if you've stuck around that long. So
Yeah.
that's great. And let's move on now to Lutron. Let's talk a little bit about the company Lutron. First, tell us a little bit about what it is that Lutron does, as well as a little bit about the history of Lutron, because they got a really cool history with them too.
Yeah. So I've been there since 2000. Um, and I'll tell you what I think how it works. Mr. Spira invented the dimmer in 1959. I know that. He was in the Navy, and I believe he was working with a component, the Triac, and I'm not really sure where he came to the idea that this would dim lights. Um, but somehow he got to the point where he realized he could dim lights with that component and created the dimmer. And I answer this question all the time when I explain I work for Lutron. And if somebody doesn't know anything about the industry, I always mention that he invented the dimmer, and now we do full building lighting automation. And I'm in the commercial world, so we work on things like McCormick Place or the Bears Stadium we did, and a bunch of different stadiums, Empire State Buildings, New York Times buildings. So it's pretty great. I get into buildings that I would never get into normally. Sit in the Supreme Court chairs and get pictures holding gavels, and it's it's pretty great. I climbed through the attic of the Library of Congress, and I love what I do.
Wow, that's really cool that you get to see all the things that a lot of regular, people don't get to see too much of. Charlie Lang, who used to work at Lutron and at a point in time worked here at Rowe-Thrush too. Uh, Back when he worked at Lutron, he actually walked through the Granger corporate headquarters in Lake Forest, Illinois. And he walked through every single room in that massive campus that they have, all the way from the basement all the way to the very top, every single room. And he picked out or helped pick out all of the dimmer switches and lighting controls and everything for the entire building. And to my knowledge, it's been a few years since I've been to Granger, but to my knowledge, they still have that same Lutron system in their building.
Yep, definitely
So
do.
that, yeah, he did the same thing, kind of going, into all the different rooms, all the way in engineering and everything in the basement, all the way up to the very top. So very cool there. And I can't. That's my favorite story to tell when I'm talking Lutron to district teams or to sellers about Lutron is that your founder actually invented the old style rotary style dimmer switch that we all had probably in our dining rooms way back in the day. So very very cool story that you guys have, definitely.
Yeah, it makes it so that other people can understand a little bit of what we do.